we must talk about Birdman, which must be like the best reviewed film of the year. It's amazing.
Yeah, pretty good. Getting great reviews. Getting very, very, very good reviews. Yeah. It's well deserved. I got to say, if you take me out of the equation and just look at the movie, it's really an extraordinary movie.
When you see the poster, it's Birdman and you're flying, sort of, but it's not a superhero in any way.
Yeah, he was.
As an actor.
Yeah, as an actor, he played a character called Birdman, and he was in fact a superhero. And unlike Batman, he did. Thank you.
Nearly as popular as One Direction, Batman.
He did. He did and does fly. The character of Birdman, yeah.
And this could be your New Year's resolution. It opens on the 1st of January, so go see Birdman. And there's a scene which is the stuff of nightmares, but you actually had to do it.
Yes.
Where you walk through Times Square just in your underpants.
Yes.
And presumably, I mean, it really is Times Square and those are real people.
Yes, yeah. And real underpants.
Yeah, and really you.
Yeah.
In fact, there's no acting involved at all.
No, no, they were stunt underpants.
When you were going through Times Square, did you meet a Beetlejuice fan?
Oh, yeah. This is tremendous. What happened was, I think it was the last shot of the film, and we're shooting, well into the morning, and one of the guys on the crew says, "Michael, come here." And there's a guy standing there. Like this, really bored, who had been on his way somewhere to his job or home from his job to see his girlfriend or someone or something, do something, I don't know what it was. So the guy grabbed him and brought him over. He said, there's a guy standing there, and the crew guy says, show him. He rolls his sleeve up like this, on flesh, an unbelievably well-detailed and really beautiful tattoo of Beetlejuice.
Actually, I think we've got a picture. I think somebody took a picture of it. There's the actual...
Yeah, look how good that is.
Look at that. It's amazing.
Isn't it? It's extraordinary. Yeah. And I go, holy moly, this is extraordinary. I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, I'm asking him all these questions, and he's just standing there looking, and then I finish, and he says, you done? And he goes like this. He rolls his sleeve down and goes over and gets back up on his bike and keeps on going. He never put the two together. He never went, oh my God, there, here you are. Never didn't nothing.
I like to think like you had 3 blocks down the corner and go, wait a minute. Brad Pitt owes his entire career to someone on our couch, and that would be Gina Davis. No, because you did. Thelma and Louise was his first film.
He'd done very little. I think it might have been his first film. I'm not sure. Yeah.
And why did you say yes to him?
Well, actually, it was down to, once I was cast, it was down to 4 finalists for that role. And they said, would you read with them so we could see, what you're like? And each one came in, and each one was very handsome. They all had brown hair and very talented. But had no, I didn't care who it was going to be. And then the 4th one who comes in is Brad Pitt. And he's so charismatic and so incredibly talented that I was like screwing up his audition because I was just like, and I forget to say my line because I'm just like, wow, he's really talented. So then I didn't know if they wanted my opinion or not, but I said, would you be interested in knowing what my reaction was? And they went, oh yeah, please. I was like, the blonde one? It wasn't my... I was not responsible for it.
Well, you kind
really wanted.
Do you know what happened to the other 3?
Yes. I didn't know who they were at the time, but it turns out it was Grant Show and Mark Ruffalo. Oh. And then the 3rd person I was sitting next to on a flight from Europe back to L.A., and then the flight attendants met me at the door and said, guess who you're sitting next to? And I said, guess who he's sitting next to? Because for once in my life, I said the right thing at the right time. And anyway, this gentleman was very friendly and great. And he finally said, I hate Brad Pitt. I said, no, you don't. He's like a really good friend of yours. He said, no, I hate him because he got the part. And I said, oh, did you want the part? And he said, you couldn't tell when I auditioned with you? And it was George Clooney.
And you didn't remember him at all?
No.
Well, Gina Davis, She talks about that and much more in her new memoir, Dying of Politeness. It's out now. And Thelma and Louise, it kind of relates to the title because Susan Sarandon, you learnt something from watching her work.
Absolutely, from watching her move through her life, yeah. So it's called Dying of Politeness because my family was raised to be insanely polite. And more than just saying please and thank you, but you could never need anything from anybody else. You had to say no to everything and be very, self-effacing. Anyway, so by the time I met her, I was still prefacing everything I said with, this is probably a stupid idea, but, could we possibly? And then the day I met her, I was like, immediately, she was like, well, I think we should cut my first line. And I was like, wait, oh, you can be like that? A woman can be like that? And I looked at Ridley Scott, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm like, wow, my mind was like blown. It sounds crazy, but really, I really was so unused to ever seeing a woman just say what she thinks.
Yeah.
And not being, self-effacing like that.
But also, you talk about your family there. It does come from a deep place.
Yes.
There's stories in this book that your family, the classic story is the story where you're driving with is he your great-uncle Jack?
Great-uncle Jack, yeah.
So how old was great-uncle Jack?
99.
And he's behind the wheel of the car?
He was behind the wheel, right. And my parents and I were in the back seat, and my Aunt Marion was in the front. And we're going down this very narrow road at night. And every once in a while, Uncle Jack would just veer into the oncoming traffic lane. Thankfully, no one was coming, and then veer back. And my parents weren't going to say anything, but my mom put me in the middle between them in case, when we had the head-on collision, I might die less, maybe. So now he veers into the other lane, but a car is coming. And closing the gap. There's nowhere for them to pull off, and no one says anything. At the last instant, my aunt says, a little to the right, Jack. He just veers out of the way. And they went by so close, their faces were the and, so my parents would literally rather die and kill their child than say something that Uncle Jack might be
offended by.
Yeah, offended by.
So they're very polite, and then you become an actress.
Right.
So they have to go see your movies. So, when they went to see your first movie, Tootsie, were they polite, or did they tell you the truth?
Well, my brother and I went with my parents, and it was the middle of the day, and nobody else was in the theater, so they had no opportunity to see how other people might, real people might react to it. And we left the theater, and my brother said, that was great. We get in the car, and there's silence. There's nothing. Nobody's saying anything. And like 20 minutes go by where no one has said, I just was in a movie, and nobody said anything. And then my mom finally said, so what do we have for dinner? They never said anything because...
Never acknowledged it at all.
Well, no, and it was because I was in my underwear in the movie.
Oh.
And they didn't know what to say, yeah.
OK, so that's mad. You're then in The Fly. Did you even let them see The Fly?
Yes, they were with my brother at the time, and they went to see it, and I knew that they were watching it, and then I'm not getting a phone call, and so I call my brother. He says, oh, yeah, I love the movie, it's so great. I said, well, put Mom and Dad on. They don't want to talk to you. I said, what? And my dad in the background says, you're going to make better movies than that if you want me to watch them. I said, put Mom on the phone. And she, hello? Mom, what's wrong? Well, you know. What? There's parts of that I didn't like. What, Mom? You know. No, I don't, Mom. Is it when the monkey turns inside out, or when Jeff's ear falls off, or when I give birth to a maggot? I literally don't know what you're talking about. And she said, it was the sex. No, but I had to tell you, another story was when I made Long Kiss Goodnight. It was very R-rated, very vulgar, and I was the first female actor ever to say, suck my dick in a movie. Thank you.
Well, the woman... I always wondered who that was.
Yeah.
That's great
me.
to know.
It was me.
It's you.
So anyway, I was like, what are my parents? They can't even watch this movie. So I got a video made of it with all the swear words and all the anything, that they would disapprove of, take it out. And I said, I just want to spare you from having to go to the movie theater, but just watch it at home, you know. So.
And it was very short, I imagine.
Yeah, it was very short.
But was that the one that was directed by your husband,
Rennie
Harlan?
Yes, yes.
So did he do that for you?
He did it for me, yes.
Oh, that's so nice.
So
Yeah.
nice.